Hello everybody, this is Lee from Normandy Atelier, and today we are in the bedroom because I want to share with you all something maybe a little bit controversial, maybe not, I am not sure, you will let me know down in the comments, but it's about why I don't like this whole idea about vintage thrifting and retro elements in design and why I don't see myself in them. And of course, if you like that and you love that and you enjoy that, that is completely fine. Sometimes I enjoy watching these kind of videos, but I don't find myself necessarily doing the same thing or incorporate these kind of elements in my apartment and in my design. And I did my whole apartment. I designed it just to feel modern and to feel me, and that is fine. And of course, if you like something else, of course, that is fine too. The whole idea for me, design is all about personality. And the first thing that I don't like about the whole trend, it's the lacking of personality. And what I mean about that is I hear it all the time. People will say online or not in real life, oh, we like thrifting and we like to find unique pieces that have stories and we like to design our spaces to feel like lived in. And this is the problem. They feel like lived in. They are not lived in because you are borrowing stories from other people. And these people you don't even know. You are just thrifting and going to shopping in flea markets or in antique shops or even online to find this story that you create and you convinced yourself that exists. And sometimes they don't, because you don't even know where did this piece came from. You don't even know the people that own it before. You don't even know their stories. So you are just imagining things that doesn't even exist. And the only story here that exists is you went to find a thrift item. You went thrifting. You went to the flea market. And is that even interesting or even that even fun to tell? It could be if that is your entire personality or a big part of it. And for me, when I am interested in a space, I want to see the people that live in this space and what is their vision about life. And because that could be mirrored through interior design and element that we have, that we put in our spaces, in our houses, in our apartments. And I would like, and this is how I designed my whole space. Everything in this space is about me. My paintings, the colors that I chose, the element that I designed, and the element that I bought from here and there, the stuff that I collected. And it doesn't have to come from a thrifted shop or a flea market, because that doesn't even have a value for me. And yes, of course, you could argue that it has other reasons, but for me, it's never about the story. The story doesn't come from the piece; it's come from you. And if the story is only about shopping, that is not even interesting. I am sorry, it's not. It's funny because every time I think about vintage and retro elements in design, especially about thrifting, one thing comes to my mind, and that is Friends, the series. I don't like really Friends because I think it's a little bit outdated now. I don't know, but what I remember is only one episode. It's Phoebe and Rachel. They live together, and they start to live together. And Rachel buys everything she wants from, I don't know what big chain she used to go shopping from, and everything is modern and nice and beautiful. And Phoebe, on the other hand, she wants everything to be thrifted from the flea market, and she wants stories and to feel like every piece to have a life of its own. And it's funny because Rachel will buy all these modern new pieces and she will tell stories to Phoebe about them, and she will create them out of thin air. And Phoebe will believe that. And it's funny because it's not. And she will say, you can smell the stories, you can touch the history that doesn't even exist. And that is exactly thrifting. At the end of the episode, Phoebe and Rachel will go, I don't know, they will go to the shop and Phoebe will find everything around her and she will, oh my god, they stole our living room, before she realized, no, everything came from here. You convinced yourself by of an illusion that doesn't even exist. And this is exactly thrifting for me. That actually made me laugh so hard. I don't know why, just so funny. Because and I don't say that as like judging for other people. It's not, because most of the time, and lots of time. Actually, I will enjoy even watching videos about thrifting and about like finding pieces and even retro design, because it comes from people that love that so much. They appreciate it so much, but that doesn't mean it has to be for everybody else, because sometimes it's a pressure. You don't need the chore that comes from finding that. Sometimes you will think, oh, you will create a whole space and you will think, maybe I will need to find this one piece that will make my space current and make my space modern by going vintage route, just because you thought you need to. And in reality, you don't. Sometimes everything you need is that have a personality, and that doesn't come always from thrifting or from going vintage. And sometimes the whole opposite. You will create a whole space and it will be beautiful and nice and amazing. It doesn't have to be modern. Sometimes, yes, modern, and you will think, I maybe need this vase here or this armoire there, and they need to be extremely vintage, I don't want to be left out of the current movement that is happening around me. But by doing that, everything will be off, because these pieces, they don't belong to what's created before. These pieces don't belong here. They belong to a museum. Sometimes choosing something to like old or vintage in a modern space could work magic, because it will create contrast, and that is very nice and very beautiful. But it's not necessary to create an impact in your space. Sometimes just choosing a light, for example, a light fixture could be extremely modern, but it could be also just something that express yourself with it. And sometimes it's a chair or a color or a pop of color or a painting that you did. I paint all the time, and I put my creation on the wall. That is very nice. Sometimes it's a photography that you make, and sometimes it's a vintage piece, but it doesn't have to be. And one of the main problem for me about the whole trend is actually the economical side, because I understand people will say, yes, we cannot afford something like with good materials like stone or real solid wood or something like that. These pieces could be expensive, and yes, I understand. So we will go and the vintage route and the thrifting route, and we could find something that is actually in a good shape and a good material, and we will put that in our home. But the reality, because of this culture that has been happening, driven by social media and influencers, it became even more expensive to find something retro and vintage and antique rather than finding something modern and nice, even if they have the same qualities to them. Like, they are both come from good material. They are not wood veneer, for example. They are real, actual wood. And sometimes the vintage route will be more expensive because, well, it's marketed as good and nice and it has a story and stuff like that. But in reality, it doesn't. It's just more expensive, and that could be a pressure on us all who are living in this hard times economic wise, because it's not easy every day. Sometimes you just need something that is functional, and you don't need to pay a fortune for it. Of course, if you want and you just need something that so hard, that is completely fine. But it's not the only option. There is always other option. And sometimes the options are very local options you could find in your area, and sometimes you could find something on IKEA that is not on IKEA. That is not even a problem. One other thing that makes me also doesn't really like the vintage rug is functionality, because sometimes, like, going vintage or going retro is a full-time job. You will need lots of things to do for the piece to be function at the end. It will need paint and sanding and dusting. Oh my God, dusty is the word that I think about when I think about vintage. Dusty, it's so funny. Anyway, you need lots of work to make these pieces that you find in a flea market, I don't know where, working, and it's just at the end of it, does it even worth your time? Does it even worth your energy? Maybe not. Maybe just go find something even nice. Even at IKEA, you will find something very nice and beautiful and functional. And at the end of the time, that is the whole reason for me interior design is making every functional piece is beautiful at the end, because we deserve to live in a beautiful place that affects our mental health, our happiness, our everyday quality of life, and we deserve that. And the whole idea of this video is not about judging other people's choices, because sometimes that could be really beautiful. Sometimes it's the exact opposite. I will love what they do, but it's only about the pressure. You don't need something just to feel not left out, and it's about personality, because what is exactly that you like and what is exactly that you love, and you can incorporate that in your space, whether it's a vintage piece from a flea market or whether it's just something that you find at your local IKEA. That both could be nice, because it's about your story, it's about your personality. Oh, you like the color green, that's amazing. You could incorporate the color green in your space. You could paint everything green, but you don't need to find a green vase that come from, I don't know, 1920s, and you think, oh, I just need that piece, although it's like it will cost me a fortune and lots of time to find. I don't know, I will you need to search for it in a month under rain and under bad weather just to find it, and just to make your space feel good. If you find it by chance, that is great, but it's not necessary. Making this video was actually really fun, because I have been struggling with anxiety and stress, and maybe like it's like obvious, I'm holding my hand all the time, stuff like that, but it's just I have been struggling with that because of my work. I am a journalist and a writer, and sometimes that is really stressful, and I wanted just an outlet to talk about something that I really enjoy in life, which is this interior design and individuality and personality driven art, and just to reflect about life itself sometimes, because it could be fun, it could be something that I enjoy, and of course, like technical wise, it could not be perfect. This is my first time I ever do a video, but you could let me know about it in the comments as much as you want, and I enjoyed it so much, and I look forward to see you all once again in another video.